I'm trying to like bring it up and slash it to repeat.
What you've just witnessed is known as the Steve Dodge, a technique invented by Steve to confuse his enemies by moving in perplexing ways. Normal dodges are fairly typical and easy to react to, but this technique makes them much more effective. The Steve Dodge involves a 180-degree twist away from the opponent, which is then transitioned into a curved dodge around the enemy, followed up by an attack. Today, I brought on special guest, Steve, the creator of this technique, to explain everything there is to know about his technique and why he's made it. Steve, explain to me what the Steve Dodge is.
So the Steve Dodge is a 180 into a side dodge while turning in order to curve the dodge around the opponent.
Okay, could you do it one more time?
Here you go.
Alright, so can you explain to me, like, why you do the Steve Dodge, or what it's used for?
So the reason I do it is mainly to get around people during their attacks, and it's very useful for specials and overheads especially, because weapons unlike the Messer, they have a downwards overhead that comes straight down, and you can't really stouty jump that or, jump over it.
Why and how does that, like, work? Like, why does it matter if certain weapons have a more linear overhead? How does the Steve Dodge help with avoiding that?
So the Steve Dodge, because it's just a single dodge, within 1 second, you're able to get completely around your opponent.
I see.
And
Okay.
this gives you timing to set up an Excel slash, to either kick them if they're not ready for it, or just to jab them in general.
So how does the Steve Dodge help you get more, distance than a normal dodge?
Normal dodge is very telegraphed, and you can see when a person's dodging left or right. With the Steve Dodge, adding the 180 into it makes it harder to read for the opponent.
I see. But with that, it's probably very difficult to do it in first person, right?
Yes.
I see. Okay. Are there any particular weaknesses of the Steve Dodge?
Yes, it is very prone to feint to slashes or slashes in general. And also, if you have a very patient opponent, it may just waste your stam in the long run because they'll just wait.
I see. So it's prone to slashes because, like, even if they miss, they can kind of drag it into you by doing a 360 or something like that. Or possibly even just hitting you with the accelerated slash because you dodged into it.
Yes.
So, like, if you do a Steve Dodge real quick and I'll just try and do a slash, go ahead. I see. Or even if I do a heavy one, like, I don't know. Yeah.
See, in that scenario,
there it worked really well. But I'm saying, like, if I, like, drag it, like, all the way around, then there's a chance that I can hook back around and hit you. But with an overhead that's more linear, it'd be very good at avoiding that. Because it's not telegraphed and you cover a lot of distance.
Yeah, try throwing a special at me.
Okay.
And now I'm behind
that's
you
really
and I'm
good.
ready to attack you.
I see. Yeah, okay. That's really effective. So besides the susceptibility to slashes, is there ever situations where you might not want to do that or use this move?
Yeah, you do need to condition people for it by using your movement and getting them used to doing certain things. So, for example, if I see someone throwing slashes constantly, I'm just not going to do it. But I kind of have to condition people to get those long overheads and try to, like, get them to commit to their attacks. It uses quite a bit of stam. I play it as a knight,
Well,
so I definitely have to be conservative with my
it
stam.
doesn't use more stamina than a normal jab, though. I mean, a normal dodge, though, right?
No, it does not use more stand than normal dodge. It is just a normal dodge. However, it's the movements beforehand that make it a Steve Dodge.
I see. Okay. Is there anything about the specific movements, though, that make it difficult to use, or not really?
Well, sometimes if you do it close, you can, like, get caught on people and, like, catch into their player models.
see.
It can also just be lack of practice. It's a very hard maneuver to pull off.
With that being
Just doing this
said,
move.
let me go ahead and, try doing it. And
Be pretty close. I also I
Do
see
you
dodge
turn-
defensive.
do you turn in the direction that you're twisting or away?
So just you gotta turn in the direction that will curve you around the opponent, basically. Like, that's the easiest way to say it. It depends on which position you're in. So if I'm
Okay.
facing you and I'm dodging right, I would have to curve inwards to get around you.
Is there any other aspects to this tech?
Not really, no. That's basically it. Just be aware that when you Steve dodge, your hitbox gets really low. testing this in the Unchained servers, if you put it at like half speed, you can notice your character can get down to like almost a full crouch. So you can also avoid tax that way.
And how did you like find this tech? How did you figure this out or invent
I will
it?
give a shout out to an OG player named Village Hooligan. He originally showed me standing in front of a spike trap and trying to just get people to fall into it, or he would look at the spike trap and then curve around people and kick them in. And I thought that was really funny. I wanted to do that during fights somehow. So I figured, I'm like, what if I could like look at the person, turn around, and do that very quickly? And
Yeah,
I figured that
literally, wow.
using the unlimited turn cap of standing still or moving left or right, you can do that during fights. So I
Wow.
kind of evolved it.
Well,
However,
that's awesome.
I'll probably do the Village Hooligan. Another application is TO, Team Objective, or LTS. Any time you're in a 1vx situation and you're sandwiched between like multiple people, let's say there's someone over here and I'm sandwiched here, I can get around and force 2 people into a line to make the 1vx easier.
Right.
That seems to be the biggest application for the Steve Dodge outside of dueling.